The biggest surprise of the night could be unfolding in Aurora, where Republican candidates trail in every race. City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky is currently trailing two Democrats in Aurora's at-large council race.
Jurinsky's built a national profile for herself through right-wing media appearances and her call for President Trump to come to Aurora to liberate the city from an immigrant takeover. Tonight, a Democrat is on track to take over her seat. 9 News politics reporter Marshall Zellinger started his night in Denver, then headed east as the unexpected played out, where progressives, Democrats, now lead every council race in Aurora, a city that's been controlled quite handily by Republicans for years.
At least in the last 4 years, Jurinsky is seeking re-election to an at-large citywide race in a vote for two scenario. And at last glance, she is still currently in third, trailing the second spot by 2,100 votes in a margin that's been growing through the night. And we just found out she's no longer here at her own party at her bar in Aurora. Jurinsky won in 2021 alongside Dustin Zvonek and Steve Sundberg in a shift from a liberal city council to a conservative one, and it might shift back liberal tonight. Jurinsky is currently on the outside looking in. So is Sundberg in his council race. Zvonek resigned from city council last year. Even though council races are not elected by the letter next to your name, it's clear who is a Republican and who's a Democrat. Even though council races are not elected by that, we know that Jurinsky's losing to two Democrats. Sundberg is losing to a Democrat, and that could shift Aurora Council back into a liberal-leaning council that still has a Republican, Mike Kaufman, as mayor. Kyle, I looked at city campaign finance records, and it shows that for this race, Danielle Jurinsky raised $250,000, and the two people who are currently beating her, Rob Andrews, who's leading the at-large race, he raised about $50,000. Allie Jackson, who's in second place, raised $20,000. One last thing I want to point out. In 2019, I was covering the mayor race between Mike Kaufman and Omar Montgomery, and Kaufman was leading, I want to say by 1,000 or 2,000 votes on election night, but as all the votes were counted, Kaufman only won by 200 or so votes. So depending on what parts of the city that votes haven't been counted yet, the margin could narrow again.
Absolutely, absolutely. This race has not been decided, but as you point out, she outraised her opponents that she's losing to by 5x and 15x. And this is somebody, Marshall, who was courted to run for governor, and she said, no, I'm going to stay in Aurora, and she might not keep her seat.
You know, there's another ballot issue in Aurora that was going to remove the limit so that you could have two elected offices at once, and that's getting trounced like 80-20, and that's not going to change. But there was a belief that perhaps if you were a council person like Jurinsky, that would open up the door to also run for state legislature or another job like that, and then perhaps we'd have that conversation in the future about perhaps running for governor.
Wow, how about it? A potential shocker straight out of Aurora. All right, Marshall Zellinger, thank you.